Hello, friends. I'm Maggie Ostara. I am a human design expert and a sovereignty mentor, and I like to share the human design perspective on what's happening for us astrologically. And today I'm going to talk to you about the Taurus New Moon that's coming up on the 16th, and also other things that are happening later in the month. And this is a really potent new moon. I think everything we've been experiencing lately has been potent, and there's some really interesting pieces. So I've got 4 different layers related to the new moon and a few other things to share with you today. Let's go ahead and dive in. We are in Taurus season. Taurus is ruled by Venus and is an earth sign, and it's really like perfect for springtime here in the northern hemisphere because the Taurus moon is like the best time to plant. It's a very earthy, earth mother kind of energy, very strong earth, like mycelium kind of earth, like soil, and so it's great now because so many people are planting gardens, and whether you have space for a garden or if you just have a plant in a pot on your porch or even your windowsill, it's great to be relating to the springtime if you're here in the northern hemisphere by celebrating and planting on the new moon. And it's also a wonderful time to be setting intentions like every new moon. So you might want to plant intentions as you are planting some some flowers, some vegetables, a tree, whatever it is that you might want to plant during this new moon. Let's remember that during the new moon, the sun and the moon are always together, which is why we can't see the moon because it is lost in the brightness of the sun. So they're considered conjunct in astrology, and they're in the same gate in human design. So this new moon is falling in the gate 8. The gate 8 is here on the throat center. It actually points down to the G center, which is the heart. And in traditional human design, it's known as the gate of contribution. And in quantum human design, it's known as the gate of fulfillment, which is ideally the contributions that we make are going to be fulfilling for us. Its mate is the 1, which is on the top of the G center, and that is life purpose. It's a beautiful channel about being able to bring really the love and our sense of identity and direction in life, which is part of what the G center is about, right? Through that 1, through that life purpose, into the gate of contribution. And so it's a beautiful connection between the heart and the throat. So the throat here is lit up around the gate 8. And the gate 8 is also in the knowing circuit. I'm going to come back to the knowing circuit in a little bit because we have a lot of activations in the knowing circuit. And I'll talk about what that means. But for us right now, we're talking about the sun and the moon, and then also notice that Mercury is in the gate 8. So those are all conjunct together. They're all standing next to each other in the sky as far as we can see them, lighting up this gate of contribution. So as we're heading into this new moon, you could be really thinking about yourself. What is the way that I'm currently contributing to myself, to my family, to the communities that I'm a part of, and ultimately to the world? What is it that I am shining out into the world in terms of my soul fire, my soul light that is coming from my heart, from that G center coming out through that 8, right? So what is that I'm contributing, which has to do with your frequency and your emotional tone. So those are places that you're absolutely contributing to the collective. But then it can also be ways that you're contributing. Like if you're a family member, you could be contributing to your family. If you have kids or you have parents, you could be contributing to them. You could also be making a contribution through the work that you do in the world, or through, different interests that you have that you get involved in that are then contributing. I like to think of like the docents at the state parks that I go to, right? Those are people who are contributing. It's a volunteer endeavor that they're doing. but it's a deep interest for them. We have a lot of whale watching that was happening a little bit earlier in the year, and I was going out and there were all the docents that were out there telling everybody about the whales, right? So that's a contribution that isn't about them making money, but it is about them being with the public and helping people understand what's going on with the marine life and so on. So you can think about different ways that you are currently contributing, and if you want to make a change. Is there something that you have really wanted to participate in and contribute to, but it hasn't been the right time, or you felt like you personally didn't have the right time, or you thought, your other obligations or your responsibilities were more important? Whatever it might be, this is a time where you can begin something, because this is the Taurus new moon. So we're beginning something, and you can be planting seeds for that new way that you want to be contributing. The sun is also going to light up the ways that you have already been contributing. And so you might want to just acknowledge yourself for all of the different ways potentially that you do contribute out into the world. And you can be looking at what is it that most brings you alive, right? What gives you the most energy? Because that's what you want to accentuate. That's what you want to give more of your time to, are the things that light you up, the things that give you that joie de vivre, that joy of living, that delight for being alive and being on the planet right now. What are those things? Because as we are in this deep time of transition between the old world, the Kali Yuga, and moving into a much more uplifting time, as we're moving into this kind of ascension phase, right? We want to be giving our energy to the things that light us up, because we want those to grow. And whatever you give your attention to is going to grow in your life. And so this is a really important time. If you're doing soul-sucking work in the world, right? If you have made an agreement with inside of yourself to participate in something that you don't really feel aligned with, like it might go against your values, but it also might just be something that isn't like giving you that joy that you really deserve, right? And you might want to make a change, because the sun is going to really light it up, and it's going to be saying to you, do you want to keep putting your energy in this direction, or do you want to make a change? Even though this is a dark moon, right? We literally can't see the moon. It's a new moon. The moon in human design is what drives us. So when we have this drive going on with the 8, right? What is your drive around your contribution? What would really be a positive kind of motivation going on inside of you that you would want to fuel? Like, I was talking to my kid recently, and we're looking at the classes that they need to be able to finish their degree. And some of it's pretty intense. They're a bio major, right? So like the classes they need to take are like this, right? And we were talking about, okay, you're going to have some tough semesters ahead of you. And I said, what do you think about that? And they said, you know what? I need to really continue to heal my brain and grow my brain, because they had a disease where they had an infection in their brain for a long time. And so I'm going to really use the neuro tools that they've learned from the neurosomatic intelligence work that I do. And I'm going to really focus on that, right? I'm going to really focus on that. I'm going to use that as a drive to help me with the contribution that I am currently making, which is as a student learning all of these things, but also as someone who is training to be a biologist. Like, I want to do that. My drive is behind wanting to become a biologist. And so they can use that energy of this moon, which is in contribution right now, along with the sun, right, to help them to move forward, right? That they can set an intention for themselves on the 16th. And they can even literally plant in the ground some seeds around that, about how they want to be able to commit to the things that they know they need to do in order to fuel the contribution that is really lighting themselves up in their life right now. One of the things I've learned about this question of drive, right, is that when you are tapped into something that is really like something that lights you up, and the drive is just there. right? The drive is just, it comes from that enthusiasm and from feeling like you're aligned with your own, like that soul fire that you have and what your soul purpose is, because then that drive comes in kind of automatically. And when you combine it with the new moon, you've got a very potent combination. And then Mercury is also here. So Mercury is the god of communication, right? Communication, quick thinking. Remember that Mercury is the ruler of Gemini, which is really mercurial, changeable, fast, like that. But also communication, the ability to speak up or to write about what it is that matters to you. So this is a great time when you're thinking about this contribution. If you want to be either elevating the contribution that you're in, or you want to be looking for another one, you're going to have the energy to really be able to talk about it, to be able to either accentuate your voice in your contribution, right? So for me, like, I'm a YouTuber, right? I talk. This is what I do, right? So for me, tuning into that energy, and this is part of my contribution, is really going to help me to bring my contribution that I make through my YouTube videos even stronger. So you can look for yourself, where do you have avenues to express yourself more? And to be able to do that during this new moon, that's going to help you to either bring your contribution forward even more. Like, let's say you were thinking about writing a book or writing a story or writing an article that had to do with your contribution, or you were thinking about doing videos. For example, maybe you do videos for social media, or you do videos for YouTube. However you're expressing yourself in relation to your contribution, you're going to get an extra boost while Mercury is in the gate 8. Just going to show you the charts here for a moment because they're always fun to see. You can see in the top chart, there's one of the blue arrows is pointing to the gate 8, and you can see there where we've got Mercury, the moon, and the sun are all lined up. You can also see that Uranus was there. Uranus has now moved on to the gate 20, but Uranus was in the gate 8 for a long time. And so you can see the little red Uranus there. And so these three planets are all moving into a territory where Uranus was. And of course, Uranus is like breaking stuff up, right? Uranus is disruptive, and it's all about freedom and liberation. You might already have been feeling like this, that you need to change your contribution because Uranus has been there. And so if you've been feeling that, then this is a good time for you to bring it more into form and to solidify it a little bit more during this new moon. On the bottom, you can see the astrology chart. It has a bunch of the different asteroids that are included as well. So if you want to, you can go ahead and take a screenshot of these charts, and then you can go ahead and unpack them as you will. But you can see there's a lot of activity that is happening in Aries and now in Taurus, because let's remember we had all of those planets moving through Aries. And so and they move at different rates, and some of them are hanging out in Aries and some of them are moving on into Taurus. So you can see there's a lot of concentration in that part of the chart. I want to remind you that the nodes of the moon are moving literally like today or tomorrow. So on the 13th or 14th of May, and they're going to be in their new gates for a couple of months. So the nodes haven't moved their astrological signs. They will do that in July. I think it's the 26th. But for now, they have retrograded back, because that's what the nodes do. They retrograde. They're getting retrograde back into the south node is in the gate 59, and the north node is in the gate 55. Now, I did an entire video just about this, so I'll put the link for that down below. And I go into a lot of detail having to do with the nodes in that particular video. So I highly encourage you to check it out. But I wanted to alert you that they had changed gates, because it's a big change in what we kind of feel like the background energy, if you will. The nodes are not material. They're not like planets or asteroids or anything like that. They're where the orbit of the moon and the orbit of the earth cross over. And they're also, when they cross over, that's when we get eclipses. So They're important in that way, and they're also important in your own human design and astrology chart, because that's the trajectory of what you brought in with you as your south node into what is your destiny is in your north node. And in your own individual chart, this tends to happen in what we consider midlife, which used to be around the Uranus opposition around age 40, 42, and is now considered a little bit more towards the Chiron return, which is around age 50. So it's in this kind of midlife period where we have these big changes going on. And the nodes, the movement of the nodes from the south node to the north node as a primary energy and theme for you changes during that time, which is why I have reached out to the midlife women in my community and invited you to take the quiz that I created called What's Your Midlife Awakening Archetype. I'll put the link for that again down below and at the end of the video, so you can go ahead and take that if you're interested, because it really, the midlife is a real thing. It's not just that we start to get disgruntled with the life that we had. We can experience it that way, but it's also because there's something deeply changing for us astrologically, and that stirs things up for us. And remember, Uranus is very disruptive. So we've got this Uranus opposition right around age 40. And then we've got Chiron, who's going to be bringing up the things that you are not necessarily, you haven't healed yet, right? And so this is disruptive, powerful, healing, liberatory energy that we're all experiencing, somewhere between 40 and 55, 60, right? It comes in slightly differently for different period for people at different times. But just to say, the nodes are very, very important and well worth your study. And if you're curious about kind of what's happening at midlife and how you can utilize it better, I encourage you to go ahead and take our quiz. It's fun. And I would love to hear from you about how it lands for you. But just to say, with the nodes, the gates that they're moving into are really important. I go into this in detail in the other video, but they are kind of a harbinger of the shift into the cross of the sleeping phoenix, because we're going to have the gate 55 lit up, which is an important energy in that particular incarnation cross. So if you want to know more about that, go and watch my video about the nodes that I just released last week. A striking feature of this new moon is that we have multiple activations in the knowing circuit. I think there's 8. Let me just count them here. So yeah, we've got the sun, we've got the earth, we've got the north node, the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Uranus. Right? That's 8 activations in the knowing circuit. That's a lot. Right? Whenever we have clusters like that, we know that the energy is going to be primarily this individual circuitry energy of the knowing circuit. So individual circuitry is here to be different. It's here to bring change. It doesn't fit in, and it's highly, highly intuitive. It's plugged in directly to super consciousness through that gate 61, comes down through the head, splits, goes around the 2 sides of the body, and comes up through the central channel. So it's the biggest subcircuit in the chart. It's quite large. It hits every single center except for the will center, and the knowing circuit in particular is really how you just know things. Right? It's like what it sounds like. It's been renamed the Gnostic circuit in quantum human design. Gnostic meaning mystical. Gnostic meaning direct connection to super consciousness. And it doesn't fit in because it's always on the leading edge. It's always on that leading edge of consciousness. And boy, do we ever need energy around the leading edge of consciousness right now? We sure do, right? As I mentioned earlier, we have these 2 splits. We have the split that's going on in our world, right? The old world, some of which is trying to hold on, and the new earth that is emerging, very polarized, And we're wanting to give energy to that new emerging new earth. And the knowing circuit is here to help us to do that, because the knowing circuit will be bringing in new epiphanies, new insights, new possibilities, new potentials, things that are not, we may never have heard of before, we may never have thought of before. And I know that I've been hearing from a variety of different teachers in the world of astrology and of our ascension, is that we're also receiving new input from the galactic center that has never been here before, which is something that's worth contemplating, right? If we have brand new energies that are coming into the galaxy and coming into our solar system and coming into our planet, right? This is radical change, right? This is radical change. This isn't about a change of political party. It's not about a change of gender. It's not about a change of like moving from one country to another. Like it's not like that kind of change. We're talking about radical, fundamental change in how we understand who we are and what our relationship is to each other, to our earth, and to the cosmos. And so this is being shown to us by all of these energies lighting up in the knowing circuit. So I encourage you to really take this time to tap into your intuition. My belief is that everyone is intuitive. I totally believe that everybody has it in their human design. It may or may not be defined or lit up or colored in, but everybody's got it in their chart. Everybody has the knowing circuit, and you have experienced those energies, thousands of times throughout the course of your life. It's just the parts that are colored in are consistent, right? You will experience them consistently over time, whereas the others will come and go, and you'll feel them differently depending on the transits and depending on the people that you're around. But during this one, right, we are all going to be super intuitive, and you can use this as a way to tap into your intuition and potentially awaken it on a whole nother level. So I would encourage you, again, if you're going to go and plant things, really, be in connection to the earth. You can go and take a walk. You can lie on the earth. You can sit under a tree and be receiving guidance from that great ancestor. Or you can be going into meditation. You can be doing breath work. You can be doing some kind of physical activity that really helps kind of pop you into your soul expression, and so that you can be receiving those downloads more effectively. The knowing circuit can be a little bit of a difficult assignment. I know I have a lot of the knowing circuit. I tend to attract people into my communities that have a lot of the knowing circuit because we're a little bit of black sheep, right? We think differently. We see the world differently. We can see possibilities far ahead of where other people see them. It's knowing. And the thing about it is you can't prove it, right? You didn't learn it anywhere. You didn't read it in a book. You didn't learn it from a teacher, right? No external force other than the divine helped you know this. It's just a deep sense of knowing that you have. And that can put you at odds with like teachers or bosses or, kind of ordinary reality structures that tend to be more focused on the scientific method, right? Where's your research? Can you prove it, right? Can you prove it consistently over time? That kind of thing. The knowing circuit literally lives in a different dimension than those types of questions. Those questions are valid, but they're not the ones that are going to be able to be answered through the knowing circuit. So just know if you are receiving the insights or downloads or potentials that are coming in during this new moon or really around it, that protect them. Write about them in their journal, talk to people who are trusted allies of yours who won't think that you're, gone off the deep end if you're starting to talk about the downloads you're getting. Right. But protect them because you don't want to have other people dismiss them because they don't understand. And unfortunately, that's still common in our world today where things get dismissed if they're not scientifically proven. But more and more of us are really embracing our intuition, really embracing the understanding that we are spiritual beings and that we have access to super consciousness, and that isn't something that we have to prove or we have to justify. It's something that we can stand behind and we can live through, and we don't have to listen to what other people have to say about it. What you might want to do is take a screenshot of this image here and see which of these gates are lit up in your chart and which ones are not, and pay particular attention to the ones that are not lit up in your chart and to kind of see what the qualities of what those gates are, so that you can be leaning into that during this time. And you also, if you look up the ones that are defined in your chart and you're like, I really want to experience that differently. Like I was talking about the 8, like the 8 is in the knowing circuit, the contribution. And I was talking about, if you want to change your contribution, this is a time to do that, because it'll be lit up by all of these other energies, and they'll give you an opportunity to work with it. So that could be true as well during this transit, with different energies that you might want to be having a different relationship to. I also want to draw your attention in particular to the gate 12, just coming off of the throat here. The 12, again, in the knowing circuit, it's known as the channel. And so this is more support for you to be, again, bringing through those insights and possibilities and potentials through that channel that is in your throat. And it could be speaking. It could also be through writing. So just know you've got a lot of support here to step into thinking differently, step forward into thinking positively in terms of where our earth is going and where you're going in your own life and what's possible for humanity. And I do encourage you to write about it, to speak about it. I do want you to protect it until you feel comfortable sharing it, but I do want to encourage you ultimately to share it, because we do need to have new ideas that are leading us into the future that we would be proud to leave to future generations. And I think a lot of those ideas are going to come in through that knowing circuit. So pay attention and take good care. And the last piece I want to share with you today is that Neptune and Jupiter are both changing gates. Now they've already changed signs, so they're in the sign that they're going to be in, but they're changing gates inside of that sign. So Jupiter is going to move into the gate 62 on May 23rd, and it's going to be there through August. And then Neptune is going to move into the gate 17. Actually, it's moving today because I'm shooting this on the 13th, and it's going to be there for about a month until the middle of June. And so both of these gates are in the logic circuit or the pattern circuit. So very, very different energy than all of that energy in the knowing circuit that I was just talking about, right? And so it's much more left brain energy, much more kind of strategic and analytical, but primarily about being able to identify patterns, right? It's also been renamed the pattern circuit in quantum human design. And what's interesting about this too is they're going to create a complete channel here, because the 17 is on the ajna and the 62 is on the throat. And so we're going to have this complete channel for about a month that is lit up by these two great sky beings. And that channel is called the channel of acceptance in traditional human design, or the channel of accomplishment in quantum human design. And the way that it's described in quantum human design is this is really where you create a hypothesis, and then you start to look at, can we start to test this? So this is referring to the scientific method. And the gate 62 is the gate of details or preparation. And the gate 17 is opinions or anticipation. And what we see here, right, is that we are preparing ourselves, right? We're anticipating a new possibility, a new potential, something else that could be true that we want to investigate, right? This is our anticipation of that. And then we're going to prepare for it. We're going to look at what do we need to do in order to understand what's coming in. The thing you want to watch out for with the 17 and Neptune is that those opinions can have a little bit of an edge to it, right? This is my opinion. You want to watch out for the need to be right coming in, where it's like, my opinion is the right opinion and everybody else's opinion is wrong. And we do potentially have issues like that with the Ajna, because the Ajna here is known to be a little bit pig-headed, if you will. It's kind of certain of what it's certain about. It's like really clear. It really thinks it's right a lot of the time. So you want to watch out for that. And we're all going to have, during this month, all of our ajnas are going to be lit up and all of our throats, because this channel is going to light both of them up. And so you want to watch out for how you're expressing your opinions and your excited anticipation. And you want to take the time to prepare and know what the details are so that you can be ready as these energies are coming in so you can make the most of them. The other thing I want to say during this time, it was particularly this next month going forward, and then we have all of this individual circuitry lit up, is you want to be able to kind of hold both and honor both and respect both, and not feel like, intuition and knowing is the only thing that's true, or logic and patterns and the scientific method is the only thing that's true. It's both and. Right? They both are important ways of knowing. The third way of knowing in the human design system is in the sensing circuit, which is right-brained energy. It's experiential, it's embodied, it's creative, right? So there's those three ways of knowing. But right now, two of them are really going to be lit up. And so we want to watch out for that kind of left brain scientific method way of thinking, not dismissing what's going on in the knowing circuit. And also from our intuition being able to receive some of this energy that helps us to bring it a little bit more into form, right? It's like, okay, we're going to say, okay, what are we really preparing for? What are the details that are involved? What are the things that we need to know? But it's more focused really kind of on material reality, where the knowing circuit is much more about the energetic reality that we all are a part of. As always, there's a lot going on in the cosmos, and we are in a particularly a heightened and accelerated time. We have been for the last couple of years. We're going to be in the next couple of years. And so it's really beneficial just to kind of take a look at these different activations and see how can you make them work for you rather than feeling that you're at the mercy of them. I always loved the title of Caroline Casey's book, Making the Gods Work for You, right? It's like, how do you relate to them? How do you work with these energies rather than feeling like, oh my God, I have to mitigate, how they're going to be controlling me? Rather, it's like, how do I take this and use it for my benefit? So this is deeply Tauran energy, like Taurus energy, as I said. And this Taurus energy can absolutely support our intuition, absolutely support our connection to the cosmos, because after all, we are children of the universe. We're children of the stars and children of the earth. And we are in this unique configuration where we are both and. We have a physical body that is made up of the minerals and the water of the earth, but we're also a light being within that is animating this form. And so we want to be able to work with all of these different attributes of us and to embrace all of our faculties and all of who we are, so that we can be more whole as we move forward into creating this new earth. It's a dynamic time. It's an exciting time. And if you'd like a little more support from me, I encourage you to take our quiz, What's Your Midlife Awakening Archetype? And it'll help you just identify a little bit more where you are on your journey and what your best next steps are. And it includes your growth steps. What are the things that you're most likely to be leaning into? And you'll have the opportunity to go deeper with that if you want to as well. All right, my friends, many, many blessings. Take good care of yourself. Take good care of your friends. Be kind, right? Give each other the blessing of the doubt. And just let's all remember that we're all in this together. Okay, many blessings. Much love.